All right. Hey there, this is your girl, Laura Williamson. This is Bear Speak, coming at you today with our awesome guest, Sarah Tugender. Sarah's going to be talking about some pretty cool stuff with regards to her business today, but I don't want to take all the excitement away. I'm actually just going to hand the mic over to Sarah right now, and she's going to tell us a little bit about herself, and we're just going to jump all in. So, Sarah, I want to say hello, welcome. Thank you for being here today. We are so happy to have you with us. Okay, so tell us everything. Tell us what you do and where you're coming from. Give us all the deets.
All the things. Well, thank you so much, Laura, for having me. Thanks, friends, for joining us today. And I am the owner, along with my husband, of a business in Stoneham, Massachusetts, called Nutrition and Whole Health Solutions. But I do like to add, if you do see me in the office, I am a busy mom of 3. By the time this podcast airs, it probably will be 4. So if you're watching the video,
congratulations.
That's what's going on.
Yes, I love it.
I am a North Shore girl through and through. Born and raised in Melrose, Massachusetts. I live up in Danvers. We love just taking advantage of everything that New England has to offer. But healthcare, natural healthcare in particular, has been such a passion of mine for my entire career. So it's been over 20 years that I have been in this industry.
Okay. So, Sarah, I deep sigh here because, well, I invited you. I wanted you to be here. We've known each other for a little while now.
Yeah.
And it's been a pleasure. You've been so kind. And Sarah, you reached out to me one day. You shot me an email wanting to meet and get together because our locations, our businesses are located very close to each other. Like I'm literally around the corner from you. And so as I started doing this and talking to people, I thought, you know what? I really should get Sarah in here. I should talk to her. And one of the reasons why I wanted to invite you to come in is because I wanted to talk about what you offer. I found that when I went to your establishment, it was cool, first of all, but it was cool for a variety of reasons. It was cool because you had organic, you had supplements, you had, and not only did you have supplements, you had ways, you had processes to help with certain issues depending upon where a person was in life. And I'll give examples like digestion. Like I have had some issues off and on with my digestion. We talked about it briefly before we started today. That's one. But then you also had a couple of pieces of equipment that I also tried. And those were fabulous. And I'm sorry if I'm not so definitive about the names because I don't remember the names.
I'll fill in the details. All good.
But, you know, I got in, I put a jacket on, I had some legs things going on, I had things. But what I know is I felt very relaxed and calm by the time I was done. My body felt good. And I also have been there when you've had events and you've had guests come in and you've had speakers. And so you offer products, you sell products, but you offer answers. You know, you give information, you teach, you educate. Like you're the full thing. Like you're the real deal. You do more than just give stuff to people and sell stuff to people.
No, you can't.
Like
do
you
that.
actually try to. Yeah, that's not good.
That doesn't work.
But you actually educate too, and you talk about what's current, what's happening now, and for me in my business and my job, I think it's just normal for me to have certain types of conversations because I am a fitness professional. That's what I do every day, aside from this. But I want to talk more about why you do what you do. Like, how'd this all start?
Yeah.
Like, how'd you get there?
Yeah, well, you're like a good friend. I mean, and isn't that what it is too when friends open up to friends and, you know, businesses and business interactions can often escalate personal. And I know we talked just about how, you know, people then will bring up concerns that they have, you know, where they're in maybe a system that feels like a failed system. And I absolutely love the medical system. When I was born, the first year my dad was in medical school. And I remember then when he went to residency, and when you're a resident, you put a lot of time in. And we were down in Baltimore, Maryland. And I remember that we would go and bring him dinner at the hospital, and we'd meet and rendezvous in the parking lot. And I'd be in the back seat, and I'd crank down. I'm that old, so that we would crank down the window. You know what I'm talking about. There were no buttons at that time.
Did you bring crab cakes with you when you dropped off some food?
Sometimes
Baltimore is known
did.
for the best crab cake in the world. But
so
that's
good. So good. We did love to just like pick our own blue crab and eat it that way too. Yeah.
Oh, you're bringing me back. Okay.
But so we would crank down the window, and I would yell from the back seat, "Do Superman, Dad, do Superman." And he would flip up his white lab coat and fly back into the building. And
cute.
He's always just really been my superhero. And it's been, I started my career just trying to find a way we could work together. I have a bit more of a marketing mind, and I am much more in the self-pay space, which is where the holistic services lie. And we have now been working alongside each other. We have together lectured around the country, specifically about women's health. He's an obstetrician, gynecologist, lifestyle medicine doctor. And the thing is, though, I've watched now over my whole life now, 4 decades of life, of how the medical system has just drastically changed. Yeah. And I wanted to be there to fill that gap. Okay. And I did so on a national level for years, and I brought it back to where I'm from. I wanted to come back when I had an opportunity to take over ownership of nutrition and whole health solutions 3 years ago. It seemed like the perfect fit for what I was craving, which was bringing an establishment that can have open dialogues, that can think outside of the box, that is not limited by what we do with just traditional medicine, traditional insurance, traditional codes, people saying, you're fine when things aren't when they're suboptimal. Let me just give you a little story. I don't know if you know this, Laura, but when you go get your blood work done, what they do is then they, let's say you go to Quest Diagnostics.
Yes.
They then are going to look at women your age across the country and what their levels come back like. And that's how they say if you're in normal range is just, are you in the same range as women your age who are getting that test done in the country? So it's all graded on a bell curve. It's not from a functional standpoint. It's not saying, do we have data to back that up to say that, let's say that thyroid level is a functionally optimal range? Just, are you the same as everyone else right now? Did you think we're getting better or worse as a country?
I'm not going to, for political reasons, I'm not going to even answer that.
Well, health-wise.
I know health-wise as far as
that's
weight gain, weight loss, and just some of the studies that they've done, not better. We're not getting better. We have more information, though. But the difference is we have more information. But the interesting idea is that we're not necessarily getting health-wise improving in our health.
In the 1980s, 20% of the states had elevated obesity levels.
Yes.
Today, we don't even have 20% that don't.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
Crazy.
The numbers are astronomical. They've increased over the last 20 years.
And you're so right. We don't have a lack of access to knowledge.
No.
That's not a problem for us.
We got plenty of that, right?
Yeah.
We're good at that, right?
Yeah.
We're good at doing the studies and getting the information and knowing the things. But where's the disconnect there?
And what's supposed to work for you? And I find that a lot of people should themselves. This is what I say. They say, I know I should be taking X, Y, and Z, whatever fad it is. I should be doing a keto diet. I should be doing a plant-based diet. I should be limiting my carbs. I should be moving more. I should be taking a collagen supplement. I should be taking sea moss now. And I'm like, how do you know what you should be doing? Why should you be doing that? And should we all be doing the same thing? So stop shoulding yourself is what I tell everyone to do. There is none of that. And we really have to take a very bio-individualized approach. And not just this one size fits all because you came in with this complaint and you're this age and therefore I'm going to do this protocol, which is, again, what a lot of the modern medicine will do. They have sort of an escalating levels of we start here and then we go to more intervention and more intervention and more intervention. and no one's getting any better. So we have to go back to a root cause, what's happening really foundationally in the body, and that's where we excel at Nutrition Whole Health Solutions.
Well, here's the question. Like, how long is it going to take us to catch up with our knowledge?
Yikes.
Physically.
Yikes.
How long is that going to take?
Do you want a real answer? Because I do have a real answer to that, actually.
Yes, I would like your answer.
I mean, I will tell you that the body cells turn over every 86 days.
Okay.
But a lot of times when we come into something, there's a lot of layers. And I don't think that your listeners are going to like this answer. But typically what we estimate, we don't always tell everyone this because they don't like this, however old you are, in years, that's how many months it's going to take you to really get through all the layers. That's what to expect. So we do really fantastic with kiddos. They tend to fix themselves within just a couple of months, super fast.
Sense. Well, but is that no one's going to be surprised by that answer?
I know.
No one.
But
right?
then you're like 50 years old and you're going to say that's going to take 50 months. Just think about how long that can be.
Well, I didn't even know that. But that makes sense to me because when I think about the 3 herniated discs that I was working on and how long it took me, I could not understand. I was like, I'm in great shape. Why is it taking me so long?
Yeah.
But with those stats, I get it.
Yeah. And we can have everything fast food and delivered in prime next day and same day. And I mean, we're used to just this instantized happiness. And what is, thank goodness, that it's not like, we have birthday cake one day and gain 10 pounds overnight. Right. But for the same token, we're not going to eat a well-balanced salad and then all of a sudden, change our digestive system. So
Okay, so I can already see this is going to be a good conversation. So let me ask, okay, so let's start here. Let's back up just a little bit. So you had mentioned very quickly, and we had also talked about this briefly, that you took over the location where you are now.
Yeah.
Now, was it a similar business that you took over? It was the exact same business that you took over?
Yeah, I mean, I have not changed anything that we did have. I've just added some technology.
Okay.
Which I think, is where healthcare needs to go anyways, and why not lean on things that have a bit more technology to them. So I added a couple product lines that have had, I think, better clinical outcomes. We've, also overall product lines have evolved and changed in the healthcare space. So we've moved with that. And then we've added 2 really big modalities and machines, one of them being a lymphatic drainage machine called the Balancer Pro.
That was
your big spacesuit that gives you a nice little lymphatic drainage. It's great for whether it's even just aesthetic reasons or, we really like it because it can help push through some of that toxic burden as we live in just an overly toxic world. And our lymphatic systems are overworked, overburdened. And then the other modality we brought is a form of shockwave therapy called SoftWave. And we are the closest location to Boston that carries SoftWave at the moment. And that really helps with soft tissue injuries, those pesky orthopedic conditions that people might have, anything that really is inflammation-based. That's where we really shine.
Well, who's your typical client?
Oh, well, I will say that on the nutrition side of things, we do tend to get more moms because I do think they're the ones that control, the groceries. They're the ones that control what the meals are. They're the ones that, will then sneak in a quick question like, could you think the whole family could take this immune supplement? Do you think the whole family would benefit from this? And my favorite clients are when we have the moms and then we get the dads and then we get some kids and then we get the sister and then we get the brother-in-law. And I love when we work with whole families because we really can help them too and say, and I think you had said this about, even couples, you can share packages, you can share supplements, it does kind of take that cost down. And then on the shockwave side of things, it's actually very interesting. I love working with people in the trades, especially people who own their own businesses, because they really understand, and fitness professionals, because you guys really understand your body is your tool.
Pretty much.
And so really you're very highly motivated to get out of pain.
What is would you say, when people come in to see you, and obviously you have all types of people, what are some of the top concerns, complaints, if you will? Yeah. What are some of the top issues? Is there a top 3 or a top 5? What would those be? Or what would that look like?
Yeah, number 1 is fatigue.
Oh, okay. Yes, I could see that.
Yeah. People just feeling like complete fatigue. This is sometimes also called brain fog, but fatigue is a big one. The second thing I would say that definitely motivates people is a more aesthetic reason. I'm just going to give that a little bit general because it could be weight loss, but it also could be acne. So anything that's really an aesthetic thing is what they're complaining about. And I'm knowing there's definitely a root cause issue to these things. And then third is just the pain, overall pain. Yeah.
What kind of pain?
But in terms of like musculoskeletal pain. Because they'll even come from a nutrition standpoint and talk about just overall inflammation. There's a lot of autoimmune conditions that are out there that are underdiagnosed, misdiagnosed.
Is that new? I feel like there are more autoimmune issues going on than there have been in the past, or is that, or am I?
Well, you have to look
seeing
at
it differently?
No, you have to look at modern medicine. They need a diagnosis for things.
Okay.
So they need to have an ICD-10 code, which is a newer thing. Like in order for treatment to ensue, in order for some kind of modality, in order for them. Now when you go to your PCP, they let you bring up one complaint at a time. So you couldn't say, Laura, for instance, oh, I'm concerned about, disrupted sleep and hair loss. They're going to say, well, which one do you want to talk about today? And the other one you're going to have to book another appointment for.
What?
They do not look at the body holistically.
That's true. That's true.
And when I say holistic, I mean as a whole body.
I understand it, because actually, now that you think about that, or they'll look at their notes and say, I understand you're scheduled today for this, and then leave it at that. And so usually I feel like I've been trained a program to do that anyway.
Yeah.
Like I always think, okay, I can't go in with multiple things. I need to stick with the biggest thing that's most important to me and leave it at that. Yeah. And then it's one of those, if I'm on my way out the door, oh, by the way, I happen to know this thing. And then it's one of those, answer the question trailing out the door, but we'll see, let me know if anything comes up. And, oh, here, I'll just throw a prescription at you. Sure. And let me know if that works. If it doesn't, you come back in for another appointment.
Right. Yeah. And only if that complaint, they can connect to a disease state that's in their coding system and the way that it's coded. And because that's how they get paid. So they don't get paid to listen to you. They just get paid on what your, code is, essentially.
Okay. So what I'm finding is in doing this and in meeting you and other, I'll call them also business owners, but specialists and so on and so forth, I'm finding like, because this is so new, I don't know that people are fully aware that I feel like there's a movement happening right now. That's what I feel like is happening.
At a tipping point. Yep.
And so how do people even understand or know? And I guess what I'll ask you is, do you even accept insurance? Like, what's your process? How does this work? How do I say, question. I got this thing going on, I'm feeling really tired, but normally I would call my doctor and say, hey, I'm really tired, or ignore it altogether until I collapse. And I'm just, I don't know, I have insomnia, I'm not even sleeping, I'm so stressed, my cortisol, I don't know. I go to my doctor first, but at what point is the doctor going to refer me to you? Or are you just going to be at a loss and be like, oh, good luck with that, then deuces, and then...
Well, let's start with just, Laura, first of all, the privilege that we have of living in New England, that we even have access to primary care providers.
Okay.
Even though it is getting harder and harder, we are not in what's called like a healthcare desert.
Okay.
And that's a very real thing for other people in the country, which is wild, to think of.
I can't even imagine. But
where we are, you know. So that's the first thing. Second of all, a lot of times we're getting people who just haven't. Now I'm hearing too, people are saying the wait's too long for primary care. Do I even need a primary care? My primary care retired. I don't know who to go to now. So it's nice when I have someone that's just like, oh, I would love to take a more proactive approach. But that's, a lot of times people come to me already frustrated, already a little bit bounced around, or again, they've been really gaslighted by the medical community. And so when they come to us, it's such a different process. So we do take 2 full hours with people as our initial consultation process.
Okay.
It's a 2-day process, meaning you're not going to come necessarily consecutive days, but we like to see you, kind of within a week. So we do a whole intake, one of the most comprehensive health histories, family histories, current symptoms, everything is charted. We love quizzes and assessments at Nutrition and Whole Health Solutions because we want to have that empirical data to be able to show progress as we're working together.
Right.
We do have fun tools, like we have a heart rate variability machine that we'll hook you up to and see what's happening. And then you come back and we say, based on what we have some options. Like this is our best recommendations on a really prudent course of action. And we can always fit things within people's budget. We can put people on payment plans. I never really want the finances to be the barrier, although I do understand discretionary income. You have to choose where you're spending your money.
Right.
But I don't want this to be something that feels so inaccessible for our North Shore community.
Okay. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. That's because it has been my findings. Like what's out there, what's being offered is phenomenal. But in some ways you think, okay, but what if I don't have the money, or maybe I can do it for a little while and I can't do it for an extended time? Like, how do I work with that? What do I do?
I tell everyone to be really honest with us too, because we can give you a good, better, best scenario.
Okay.
Because of course, like we could all of us, right? We could be doing all of the different things, but we only have so much time, so much money, so many resources. So let's prioritize. And sometimes it just helps. And that's why we get people who can be, your health coach, your functional nutritionist, and look at that and help you triage where you're spending your time and dollars.
Now, you also have events. Tell me. Well, no, because I've attended. I've been there when you've held these events. So can you tell me about these events and who they're geared toward and what you've done so far, and if there are any coming up?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know when this is going to air, but we always throw 2 big parties a year. One in Small Business Saturday, which is the Saturday after Thanksgiving. This year, I think it's on the 29th.
That's after Black Friday, right?
Yes. Yep, day after. But we try to that is a fun. They're always fun community events. There's always things for everyone. We do a lot of free services. So whether you're a new client or an existing client, if there's something you haven't tried yet, we always give everyone an opportunity to do that. I have snacks that fit in our repertoire to give people good ideas. We do the same event typically around June, right before the kids get out of school as well, to kind of kick off the summer. And then I'll do other events as well, whether I'll bring in an outside speaker or one of our speakers. We pick a topic, and we're going to see a lot more of this in 2026 from our company. Because the other thing I'm finding is that people just really are super lonely in their conversations with this. And we feel so disconnected from people in a post-COVID world. It was really fun yesterday. I was in the office, and a couple clients were sitting on our couches, and they ended up getting to talk. And I swear the conversation, they sounded like they were long-lost girlfriends. When you meet people on the same vibration as you, when people are on the same mission, when they're in the same place as you, it is really nice and just feels really validating that you're with other people who are on this journey. And for me to be able to open up my space to our community, to the greater community, and bring people in for these kind of conversations. We did do a whole series of lectures. This was through the summer into early fall, all about menopause. So we might have things like that look like a little series that kind of builds upon each other. And other times they're just, complete standalone events. What
I know is I have, in doing what I do and the clients that I've worked with, there is a bit of people feeling isolated out there, which is a reason we were also talking about this. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this podcast, and I was doing the actual TV show before this, because of that isolation. And, I have found, I consider myself fortunate because even though I'm a business owner, it puts me in a position to meet other business owners and other fabulous women like yourself. And so I consider myself lucky because I've developed some really awesome friendships because of that. But not everybody has that or has that opportunity. And then if something comes up, if there's an issue with, maybe someone has a conversation with me like, geez, Laura, I'm starting to have hot flashes now, or, I have this thing that I'm going through and I need professional counsel or things of that nature. It's like sometimes, you got to share. You got to be vulnerable and share a little bit of what's going on in your life to get answers. And I'm finding that can be difficult for people. But long and the short of it, when it's just business people, I find person to person, it's easy because we have similar businesses in a sense, right? Because it's about health and wellness. So it's really easy for me to have a conversation because I'll say to you, there's this thing going on and I'm already with you. I'm already there because I have access to you and other people. The average person doesn't. And forget about friendships. That's a different scenario altogether. So I think in a post-COVID world, like you said, I have found that I feel like there's a lot of isolation. There's a lot of head down, eyes forward, and focus on what's right around you. But then when the time comes, it'd be like, it'd be great if I could have a conversation with someone else and interact with people who aren't my kids or my husband, which there's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. Some people feel guilty, but the balance somehow I think is off for a few people right now.
You need people that elevate you, that people that are even just a half a step ahead, to be able to pull you up type of thing. And if we had more of that. And also, I think if we reached back and just saw who was behind us and lent a helping hand a little bit more, it doesn't have to be this every man for himself. Like, we're not quite yet in the zombie apocalypse, everyone. So
no, we're not. So what I'll ask you is, we already know about your approach to working with clients. Do you consider them clients or patients?
Clients,
yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So my question for you now is more on about you. What do you do to take care of yourself? Like, how do you implement some of the things that you're doing? Because what I have found, and just speaking for myself, obviously, is in this business, I have found myself doing so much for others in my business. Like, I want to make sure you're okay. I want to make sure you reach your goals. I want to make sure you do your things. And for me, the hours can be extremely long. And I don't know that people realize how many hours a personal trainer can put in. But, my days can range between 12 to 14 hours. And no, not because I'm working 12 to 14 hours, but your day is spaced out. So if you have a client that comes in 1 hour, you might have an hour in between. Or maybe in my case where I used to also do home training. And so there's travel time. And so that really works out to about 3 hours, give or take, with travel, setup, breakdown, coming and going. So it gets to be a long day, and it does wear and tear, which is why so many of us will burn out.
Do you work hard? Do you play hard? And are you living well? The truth is, we're all figuring it out as we go. On Bear Speak, we have honest, relatable, and fun conversations with real people about life, growth, health, and becoming stronger.
Relational life therapy. You and I have talked a little bit about this. This is Terrence Rio. Depending on your makeup, you're either in fight, flight, or fix.
Because you can be the hero of your own movie. Stay tuned and listen to inspiring people who found the strength to face their biggest fears and live their biggest dreams.
So my question to you is, I found that finding balance has been and can be extremely difficult to find sometimes. So my question to you is, what do you do for yourself? How does that work out for you?
I'm going to first just have a little disagreement in that I don't believe in balance. I very much believe in imbalance because I always think we have a goal and a priority and something that we need to put at the forefront. And it can be something that we're working on because we need to have that goal because we don't make it a priority. So it is so radically out of balance that we have to just say, okay, maybe you're in a season where you're saying, I need to prioritize sleep because I've seen that that's gotten off. So you have to do it long enough until it becomes a habit. It could be nutrition. It could be, that you're in a business growth or, look at me. I'm going to go into a very big season of imbalance of my fourth trimester and being, bonding with my new baby. And, my next imbalance is going to be, I'm going to be very imbalanced with family over business, where I've been a bit imbalanced in the past. But I will tell you that you cannot heal anything if you don't have proper nervous system regulation. So for me, that's really always what I do for myself. I'm
like
always checking in and saying, what do I need to do for nervous? And sometimes it's just setting boundaries and saying no and canceling things, and I need to clear my schedule. Sometimes it's, going for a walk or, cooking myself a meal or whatever that takes. For me, those are the kind of things. I love cooking. I love eating. I love sharing those foods with friends and family. I do like, getting outside in nature, taking a walk. I think that really clears your head. The world has an ionic charge, and you just getting outside and you getting into the circadian rhythm really changes things. And that's not always possible. I'm the same way, as you are too. I sometimes by accident, you burn the candle at both ends.
Okay.
I'm not having the same extended day for clients, but I was out the other day going up and down Route 1 to pick up my daughter from dance, long after I should have been out and about on Route 1, So now for me it is then how do I then say, okay, I need to just stop.
Right.
And I need to do something for me right now. But I also have found, I will say, I lean on some adaptogenic supplementation. It's been a little bit harder being pregnant and using all of my same tools in my toolbox. But some things that I love, include different herbs, botanicals, things that I can lean on that really help take the burden, just hold it. Doesn't mean it disappears from your life, but you're not having that mental load and that nervous system suppression in the same way. It helps with that regulation a ton.
If you had to, okay, we'll see. We'll talk to me. If you had to give me, and imagine me and like wherever thousands of other listeners, right? Give us advice. One piece of like, you know what? Here's an idea, and maybe this is something. Well, this is something I would highly recommend. What would that be?
Yeah, that's an easy one because for me, we all have our phones on us, and all of our phones are smartphones, except my one client who still has a flip phone that I can't text. But I really journaling and journaling symptoms with what's going on and connecting the dots. And I don't think that people trust themselves enough as their own healers and don't trust themselves to listen to that intuition and really seeing it on paper. Because I hear all the time from people, I get enough sleep, or I move enough, or I eat, I really eat a clean diet. But let's really start looking at that, because I do believe moderation kills. I do think that when you do a little bit of something over time, we can't poison ourselves a little bit at a time. I want to know, not just how long you slept, but how did you feel when you woke up? And then what did the rest of that day look like? And what did you eat the night before that night that you had disrupted sleep? We try to kid ourselves all the time. I wear a wearable device. I have an Oura ring. And the other day I called my dad up, and it is great being pregnant, having a dad who's an OBGYN. And I'm like, Dad, my numbers were just in the trash last night. Like, could the baby be coming? What's going on? He's like, well, I never like to I like trends, he said. I don't just like to, one night, and it really depends on what you did the night before. And I will admittedly say that we did have a bit of a sweet treat that night before, which was unusual because one of the kids had a friend over, and that was something we said that we're gonna, have a little indulgence tonight. And guess what? I woke up and my recovery was not where it usually is. I said, Dad, do you think that played anything into it? And even me, you just need someone to kind of look at it and to call you out on your baloney and to say, oh, it must be all these other factors, not something I did to myself.
And like you said, intuitively, you knew. You're like, I know what it was. Like, but
I
you
don't want to admit to it.
Well, no, why would you do that? Like, no, but, and I think what you say is true. I think, okay, so I am one to journal. I do journal.
Good.
Granted, I do have nights, because I usually journal at night before I go to bed. Because for me, I always look at it as I'm just letting go of some stuff. I'm releasing some things. And I found that I should do it every night, but like if I'm tired, if I got too much to do, because I call it my rituals before I go to bed at night. And it can take me so long to get into bed, and then I'm a night owl, and then I get up early, and I do that to myself. I need to be better. But the point is that I see it as it's cathartic for me to write down my stuff and let it go instead of holding on to it, And I think to myself when I started a few years ago, writing in journals again or journaling, I thought to myself, I was like, okay, it's like I'm 16 again. I'm here writing. And I'm like, but no, don't do that to yourself. Like, it's a worthwhile thing to do. And again, what I recognize is for me, the other thing is, I meditate at night. I meditate at the beginning of the day. Granted, I need to take a tiny break. But, I find trying to find my peace, my calm, and, try to focus on what I've done during the day. But I think I try to get people to journal about what they're eating. And people are like, oh, I'm too busy. I'm like, well, you could do it on your phone.
Right.
Oh, well, I don't know. I got to look at my phone. But I never believe.
First. Just take pictures. Make it simple. Use AI, put all into ChatGPT. Like whatever it's going to take is easier than ever. You don't have to carry on a notebook if that's not what you want to do.
And no one wants to carry a notebook, right? But me, I'm a little old school. You see I got a notebook right here, but I have a smartphone like everybody else. Yeah. So I actually put notes in my smartphone, but I do carry a book at the same time, right? So if I need a phone number, I don't want it in my hand. Like I want it because I want to cross off the list.
Yep, I love crossing off a list.
Yeah, but the point is like make it easy for yourself also. And how do you say, don't poo-poo anything until you actually give it a try, because you might be like, well, I'm not a journal writing kind of person, right? But then you try it and you do it and you're just like, this is kind of also my time to relax and just write down what my day was. And what I also find with the journal writing is you start to realize some things. Like it occurs to you like, oh, wait, I did that thing. Oh, why did I do that? Or it helps you think. It puts you one step further. At least that's my experience.
Yeah. And Atomic Habits, by James Clear, right? Did he write it?
Yeah.
The audience is screaming at us, telling us if that's not the right author. But he said stack the habits. Yeah. So just find something that you do every single day. So like, what are you doing while the coffee pot's brewing? What are you doing, right after you put your toothbrush down and you brush your teeth, which hopefully you do twice a day? Like, what are you doing before your feet hit the floor when you get out of bed? Like, what are those little things, and how can you stack those habits of stuff that you're going to do anyways?
Well, for me, I'm going to go back one step on that stack the habit. So mine is do an action to create the habit. So do a simple action in nothing longer than 5 minutes, worst case scenario. Like that's when I talk to clients and I talk to them, that's one of the things that I talk about with them, like keep it simple, KISS, right? But then the other thing is we want to develop new habits, right? Because we get familiar with what's the saying, what's better? The devil you know, the devil you don't know, right? And we get familiar and we want to stay over here because we know it so well, because change is challenging. Yeah. It's difficult. And this is not about changing. This is about helping yourself, right? This is giving yourself a path. This is giving yourself a way. But the point is like start a new action and make it so easy that you can do it without fail. If you even have a little bit of a doubt, don't do it. Leave it out. Move on, because as soon as you hear that little voice in you that says, oh, no, I'm not doing that, guess what? You're not doing it.
Right.
But to develop those habits, I say you start with incredibly small actions, and then you do those actions enough time, then it becomes a habit, and then it's easier to stick to because it's ingrained. It's just like you get up and brush your teeth. Believe it or not, it can be the same way.
It totally can.
But I think, let me ask you this. This has been such an awesome interview. I'm so happy to have had you today talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. But how can someone find you? Like, how does anyone get in touch with you or find the location if they want to hear more about you, see what you do, see what you offer?
Thank you.
Or go to an event.
Yeah, awesome. Physically, we're right on Main Street in Stoneham, right above the restaurant The Stones. You can always come up and visit. Our hours are posted on our website, which is nwhslife.com. So NWHS for Nutrition Whole Health Solutions, life.com, but we keep it simple. And from the website or Instagram, NWH Solutions is our Instagram handle. I assume, Laura, you link all the links to all the places and all the things. But yeah, I mean, if you do Instagram, I am the one that will answer the questions on Instagram. So go right for it. DM me. Let us know. We do have a text line as well. And people will sometimes that's more comfortable for them. They'll text a question or DM a question, something like that. But we would love to see you in the office. And the other thing too is, if you don't mind, I can offer your listeners, if they mention that they found us on this podcast, they can get $50 off an initial consultation with us.
May offer away.
So there we go. So just mention that you heard us right here on the podcast.
Yeah, you guys are fabulous, and you're helping a lot of people, and I think for me that's what's so important. It's so invaluable, and again, I feel like both of us are part of a movement right now, and because I think it's obvious right now that things aren't black and white, especially where it comes to our health. It's not as simple as go get a diagnosis and take a pill. No. Not to say it was that black and white, but in some way I feel like it could have been or had been for a lot of people. And I think people are slowly coming out from under the idea of, and this is not about speaking negatively about doctors, but it's opening up their worlds to other options and opportunities to take care of themselves, and not always just my doctor said this is what I should do, so this is only, because it's usually this is only what I'm going to do. I'm not doing anything else. But now there are other options in addition to. Yeah. So side by side, I think it's going to be beneficial. So again, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so very much. Everyone, I think this is the end of another show. Thank you so much for listening. I am happy to have you here. Please join us again. Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks for the opportunity. Bye, everyone.
This is Laura from Bear Speak. We will see you next, or actually we will hear you. You'll hear us, and we'll talk to you next time. Take care.